The most iconic card from every year in Yu-Gi-Oh! I've been out of Yu-Gi-Oh! For a long time, so now I know what are the most iconic cards, right? In the Josh format, especially. And I also knew until kinda like the GX day from like 2007, 2008, but in between, I don't know anything, right? In between, I don't know anything. So I'm really excited to see what were the most iconic cards in that period, in that very long period of time. So yeah, let's watch.
When you think of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, what's the first card that pops into your head? The Blue Eyes White Dragon, Dark Magician.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the first card you ever pulled from the booster pack you spent weeks begging your parents to buy. Maybe
You beg your parents for one booster pack, chat. It was like that. It used to be like that. It's just one booster pack, please. And then you just get like random cards that you never seen before, and you never like hear about them ever again.
Maybe it's your favorite monster from the anime, the ace of your favorite character. Maybe it's the card that always beats you at locals, no matter which deck you play. Everyone has a card that, to them, defines Yu-Gi-Oh! But
I mean, right now, probably, like, honestly, Maxi or Ash Blossom are the most iconic cards. I don't know.
25 years of history and...
I mean, if I have to choose one in all of it, it would be probably Pot of Greed, even though it was, like, it was always banned, right? But because of the anime, it's like the card, right? It's like everyone knows that.
10,000 cards printed and hundreds more debuting every year, not every card can be a winner, and only a select few can rise above the pack filler to be deemed true icons of the game.
True
To
icons.
celebrate Yu-Gi-Oh's 25th anniversary, although the TCG has only been around for 23 years, I went through every card released and picked out the most iconic card released in every year.
Okay.
Some of these cards are juggernauts that dominated the competitive meta, while some are anime staples that
Yeah,
even
I already
casual
saw that,
fans
Dad.
recognize. Either way, here are the 23 cards that define the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. We start our journey in 2002. Linkin Park is on the radio,
No!
Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime has just hit American airwaves, and Konami is about to release a product that'll start a trading card game revolution. So it only makes sense that the most iconic card of 2002 is the monster that Konami named the debut booster set after, the Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Was it really? What? This was the best card in the... Well, not the best card, but like the well, I guess it was the best card, right? It's 2000 attack, right? At that time, yeah, that, yeah. We'll see it later, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Blue Eyes White Dragon makes sense.
Released in Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon
Oh,
on March
it's
8th,
called?
2002.
Wait, that's the
There's a
first pack called? Like, I didn't know that. Okay, I'm clearly like missing a history lesson right there. So, yeah. You're not late, we just started.
Reason I mentioned this card in the intro. Ask anyone on the street to name a Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster, and there's a high chance they'll name Blue Eyes. To a good chunk of players, Blue Eyes is Yu-Gi-Oh! After all, it's the ace monster of Seto Kaiba, the first anime antagonist, and still one of the most beloved characters in anime history. And although Blue Eyes didn't see much play when it was first released, outside
Really?
of the Wild West that was the school playground,
Oh,
of course,
yeah.
the Blue
The
Eyes
Wild
archetype
West.
eventually hit tiered status in the TCG, OCG, and Duel Links, even winning Worlds in 2016. Even at the time of recording this video, the deck is still receiving legacy support to this very day. With
Wait, did I miss something? Like, are we talking about which is the most iconic card at the time? It like, in this year, this was the most iconic card? Or is this the most iconic card in general that came out from this year? I'm confused. I feel like the Blue Eyes White Dragon is the same. It's probably the most iconic card to came out in 2000. Came out from 2002, but it's also probably the most iconic card at the time, right? Each year of the time in that year, the most iconic one in that year, right? Yeah, okay, that makes more sense.
new structure deck releasing later in the year that
So-
might just bring Blue Eyes back into competitive contention.
Yeah, this is what I mean, because this wouldn't make a difference, right? In that, but yeah.
Of course, this year also contains Dark Magician, Exodia, even the beloved Pot of Greed, but they
That's what I'm saying. I feel like Pot of Greed and Exodia are, I guess no, it's Blue Eyes.
all fall before Blue Eyes. It's the definition of an iconic card. 2003 brought with it a wealth of iconic spell cards.
Oh, I think it's the most iconic card, but he's using legacy support to show how beloved it is. Okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense.
Including Graceful Charity, Harpy's Feather Duster, and even Scapegoat, the namesake of one of Yu-Gi-Oh's
Ooh,
most
the
popular
goat
legacy
format.
formats. But there's another card released this year, a monster that's probably more recognizable than any of them.
Really?
Dark Magician Girl, released in Magician's Force on October 10th, 2003. Best known as the lighthearted counterpart to the Dark Magician, Dark Magician Girl is a legend in the pantheon of iconic anime girls.
Yeah, okay, I cannot argue with that. I guess it's like, yeah, I guess. But like I feel like like outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess it's more popular, but I don't know, it's the GOAT. What do you mean Scapegoat is not more iconic? I guess outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, Dark Magician Girl is more iconic. It makes sense.
Although she's never seen much meta play, she appears in the art of some of the most powerful cards in the archetype, including Magician Navigation.
Those cards have really cool art, yeah, I agree.
Not to mention, she's also been retrained several times, including as Magi Magician Gal, one of the few modern cards with artwork drawn by Kazuki Takahashi.
It doesn't exist
Dark
in the
Magician Girl is a
TCG.
fan favorite, and you can bet that duelists will be jamming her into Dark Magician decks until the end of time. Now we enter 2004, the year of chaos, and what better monster to represent this year than the dragon that brought about Yu-Gi-Oh's first Tier 0 format, Chaos Emperor Dragon.
I know that.
The end, released in
that's iconic.
Chaos on March
that
1st,
got like errated,
Chaos
right?
Emperor Dragon, or CED for short, was one of the first Chaos monsters, one of Yu-Gi-Oh's biggest, longest running, and most consistently dominant archetypes. Its ability to wipe out both players' boards and hands defined the 2004 metagame, but not necessarily in a good way. That's because when combined with cards like Witch of the Black Forest and Yatagarasu, this effect had the potential to completely lock your opponent out of playing the game. Chaos Emperor Dragon is a key component of the infamous Yata Lock, a strategy that quickly became the 2004 format's only viable deck, taking upwards of 80% of top spots at tournaments.
I remember like when, you know, Playground Yu-Gi-Oh! 2004, and everyone told me, oh, this card is banned, like, right? Like Yatagarasu, and I'm like, why? It has, so it doesn't have attack. How does that work?
Strategy was so dominant that it actually led to the creation of Yu-Gi-Oh's first Forbidden List, and you can guess what was public enemy number 1. Chaos Emperor Dragon and its legacy defined 2004 Yu-Gi-Oh! So the next time you're stuck playing modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, just consider yourself lucky that you aren't getting hand looped for 5 on the first turn. 2005 saw the end of the Duel Monsters anime and the birth of the GX era. Gone were Yugi and Kaiba, in were Jaden and Aster. And just like the anime had evolved, so too did the TCG, as duelists were introduced
There's no
to
way,
the
right? The
Cyber
Dragon is a
Cyber Dragon,
yeah, it's
released
Cyber
in
Dragon.
Cybernetic Revolution on August 17th, 2005. Cyber Dragon's admittedly
So
simple
iconic.
effect marked an immediate and massive jump in the game's power level. Everyone knew that going first had a distinct advantage, especially because you actually drew a card at the beginning of your turn, unlike now. But Cyber Dragon helped tip the scales of the player going second back into their favor by allowing you to special summon a highly powerful monster on your very first turn. Special summoning monsters today may not seem like a big deal, but back in the day, special summoning was truly special. And
I feel like there is a lot of archetypes that have cards like this, that you just summon a big thing out of nowhere, like for absolutely no reason. Hello, Lardito. You can just summon like something with even more attack, like out of nowhere, without even these conditions. But at the time, it's insane. It's like this is like an actual card that came from the future. Cyber Dragon actually seemed like a card that came from the future. So funny.
Cyber Dragon was at the forefront. Not to mention that Cyber Dragon was the first entry in the long-running Cyber archetype, a fan favorite that featured heavily in the GX anime. There's no card released in 2005 that even comes close to Cyber Dragon's power and popularity, not to mention its impact on the game. Compared to the years prior, 2006 was a pretty slow year for the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. But the year did bring the long-overdue debut of one of the game's most iconic fusion monsters, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon.
This didn't existed before? Cyber Dragon came out before Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon? What? What? So what? This was just like an anime thing, and when people talk about Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, people were like, "Oh yeah, that's an anime card. That's not real. Will never exist." It was anime. That's so weird. It's such iconic from the anime that I cannot imagine this card not existing. That's so weird that it came out after Cyber Dragon. This came out after Blue Eyes Shining Dragon. Oh, what? It came out after. Oh, I think I heard something about that, right? Because the Blue Eyes Shining Dragon is from the movie, right? The Pyramid of Light, right? And it's required to tribute this or something like that? Or am I confusing with a different card? So the other card was unplayable. but it also predicted the future. Another card from the future, right? Or is this a card from the past? I don't know. Player on Yu-Gi-Oh! Have people stacking 3 blue eyes on top of each other like a Xyz monster. Dude, that's how they made it up with the fusions that didn't exist, right? And they were like, oh yeah, that's what it's called Xyz because there is another like axis. It goes below. It's a different dimension. So cool. We're so awesome and so clever. Yeah.
Released as a promotional card in the January 2006 issue of Shonen Jump. That's right, it took 4 years for Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, Seto Kaiba's ultimate boss monster, still one of the game's highest attack point monsters, to make its TCG debut. 7 years if you count the OCG, where it was originally given out as a prize card to the champion of a 1999 Dark Duel Stories tournament. Why did it take so long, and why did it take until 2008's Gold Series for it to see its first regular printing? Who knows?
The hell? So it wasn't even obtainable. It was still a meme. It was still not an actual card that you could get. That's so weird.
But just wanted every copy for himself. Either way, the strongest fusion monster of 1999 Japan is also the most iconic card of the 2006 TCG. Speaking of Seto Kaiba, it's a long-running joke that the most powerful card in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, of course, your credit card. And at few times was that more true than in 2007, when it cost a mortgage payment to own the metagame of a powerful card,
is that
and
coming?
Of course, one of Kaiba's favorites, Crush Card
Oh, no, it's not.
Given out as a prize card at the Shonen Jump Champion tournaments in 2007. If you go back and look at the top decks from 2007, you'll notice they only contain 1 copy of Crush Card Virus, if any. That's because the card, of which only a couple dozen
I'm scared of the price.
costs upward of $1,500 per copy.
$1,500?
Usually pro players who belong to organized teams, would trade it between one another, passing it around to whoever was competing next. I once had a meal with Chris Perovic, who told me that playing during this time went something like this. 99% of players were worried about acquiring the cards needed just to build their main deck. The competitors who had a realistic chance of winning were concerned with getting a copy of Crush Card. Was Crush Card worth the money? If the choice came between playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And feeding your kids, probably not. But for the few pro players who owned a copy, activating it even one time was enough to win the duel, if not the match.
But like, is it even worth it if you don't get money from playing Yu-Gi-Oh? Because there is no prize money, right? Like, why invest so much in securing like a victory like that? I would assume like people will agree on a like gentleman agreement, right? Not play this card. I guess I'm asking for too much, but I don't know. This, like, I cannot imagine a card like at that price. It's insane at that time in that economy. No prize money, but you can sell the prices. You said there was only a few dozen. No, yeah. I get why it's expensive, but like, it's weird that the whole meta, the whole like competitive scene, was like this. Huh.
Its original pre-errata text destroyed all your opponent's monsters with over 1,500 attack for the next 3 turns, locked most decks out of a win condition. It turned Yu-Gi-Oh! Into a literal pay-to-win game, and acquiring 1 copy of Crush Card made getting the 2nd copy or 3rd copy even easier. The high cost for meta cards is always a hot topic in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community, and Crush Card Virus, as iconic as it is an infamous example of how money can quite literally tip the scales of victory.
Engraver, it wasn't expensive? Wow.
The economic landscape didn't improve in 2008. This was a big year for the game. We saw the debut of synchro monsters like Stardust Dragon and Black Rose Dragon, hand traps like Gores and Honest that changed how players treat the battle phase, and powerful new spells like Emergency Teleport shifted the speed of the game into higher gear. But none of these cards came remotely close to dethroning the big daddy of all dark monsters,
the big daddy,
Dark Arm Dragon, released in Phantom.
Not the Stardust Dragon or something like that, because this existed. It was like, yeah. This is probably the #1 tier 0 deck card. Yeah.
Darkness on February 13th, 2008. If you were playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2008, a chill just ran down your spine and into your wallet.
So
that's
true.
because Dark Arm Dragon, which could hit the field for no cost and immediately destroy 3 of your opponent's cards, ruled the 2008 meta from release. Things got even worse in September when the cards Emergency Teleport and Krebons were released in the Duelist Genesis, turning Teledad into a Tier 0 Synchro Spam deck. If you weren't playing Dark Arm Dragon, you were losing to it. At its peak, a single copy of Dark Arm Dragon cost more than $350, and if you wanted to compete at the top tables, you needed a full playset. Combine that with other pricey staples like Allure of Darkness, Destiny Draw, Destiny Hero Malicious,
Oh, I remember this exact deck. I've seen it at the time in person.
One of the most expensive competitive decks throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's history. That price tag locked.
Wait, someone in Peru had this. Someone at the local game store, card game store, had this. That's crazy. I didn't know it was that I knew it was expensive, and everyone talked about how expensive it was, but I didn't think it was that expensive. Do you think it was a fake one? It's possible, right? It's possible that it was a fake one. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like people will talk about it. Should look up the list and use it in masterduel. That's so funny. I don't think this is that good anymore, right? I really doubt it. I don't see this card anymore. It goes like power creep, right? Or is it banned? Are you gonna tell me that it's banned? I actually don't know. This card cannot be normal summon or set. This card cannot be special summoned except by having exactly 3 dark monsters in the graveyard. You can remove 1 dark monster from the graveyard, destroy 1 card on the field. This is not once per turn. It's not once per turn. I feel. Wait, it's not once per turn, right? Am I missing something? It got the Rata, right? There's no way this didn't get the Rata, right? That banished Malice Dormouse. That is so funny. It's still reasonably good. Just people can use all cards now. Yeah, I mean, why use this when you can use so many other things? Why not use proxies in local play? It's only tournaments that care, right? Yeah, well, obviously. But the people that play in locals, they also want to participate in tournaments. Well, not everyone, right? But I assume you still need to get it. It's there. Is it still not once per turn? Oh my god. It sounds really good. Why is it not used? That's so weird.
Countless players out of the competitive scene, and even discouraging some players to the point that they quit the game entirely, myself included. Dark Arm Dragon's domination lasted for the entire year. No emergency ban list, no sudden shifts in the metagame. Dark Arm Dragon obliterated everything that stood in its way, producing one of the darkest periods in the game's history, no pun intended. It took until Dark Arm Dragon's eventual limitation on the March 2009 ban list for the metagame to stabilize.
Just limited?
But the darkness would continue to spread, as 2009 was another dark period for a different reason. Blackwings were a new archetype released in Crimson Crisis on March 3rd.
Alright, Blackwings, we're there.
The first wave of support contained Blackwing Sirocco the Dawn, Gale the Whirlwind, and Bora the Spear. Blackwings
this card is still used, right?
Archetype that could swarm the field with special summons and end games quickly. Boosted by their continuous search spell, Black Whirlwind, Blackwings were a domineering force in the metagame for years, popping up in deck lists throughout the Synchro era, even lasting into the early Zexal and Tengu Plant eras. It's difficult just to choose one individual Blackwing card, as the entire archetype rounded out the decade with power, consistency, and versatility. There's no doubt that the Blackwing
this is still
the 5Ds era
like
and
decent.
the game as a whole. So for 2009, we're going to give it to the entire Blackwing archetype.
Nah, shut up. You cannot do that. You cannot. That is. What do you mean the entire archetype? What does that mean? What do you mean the entire archetype? Holy.
And although the 2010s would eventually bring with it a massive amount of new mechanics and card types,
Pendulum.
the most iconic card of 2010 is actually an old favorite, Obelisk the Tormentor, released as a Shonen Jump promo card on January 1st, 2010.
What the hell?
Believe it or not, this promo release was Obelisk's first official printing in the TCG.
Oh, another card that wasn't real. Another anime only. Interesting.
It was also the first of the Egyptian gods to receive an official TCG print. It took until October 2010 for Winged Dragon of Ra to see a similar promo release, and until 2012 for Slifer the Sky Dragon. Some of you might be watching this and thinking, but wait, I had an Obelisk card way before 2010. I ruled the schoolyard with it. And yes, you might have had a card that said it was Obelisk, but it was almost certainly either a fake, which were incredibly common, or it was Obelisk's original blue back print released in 2005 as a collectible but illegal card. Don't worry, I won't tell any of your friends that you cheated. Obelisk is actually the only Egyptian god card to ever ever see real competitive play. Well, if you don't count Winged Dragon of Raw Sphere mode several years later. Its targeting protection alone put it in a tier far above the glass cannons that were Slifer and Raw. Honorable mentions for this year include Effect Veiler and Droll and Lockbird, both popular hand...
Droll came out in 2010? What? Excuse me? Droll is 2010? The evil. Yeah, the hand traps are old. No, I knew Baylor was old. I didn't know Droll was that old. Yeah, Droll is old. It was common too. It was a common? Feel old yet? No, I feel weird because I didn't know. I thought it was like a little a bit newer, like at the same time as Ash came out. I didn't know it was like older. Droland, this was 16 years ago. Oh my god, stop. I wanna be alone. Get out of here. Get out of my chat. I wanna be alone. Alright, let's keep watching.
Traps that still see modern play, but Obelisk is one of Yu-Gi-Oh's most recognizable monsters and by far the most iconic release of 2010. What's the most important event of 2011 Yu-Gi-Oh? If you're like most players, you'd probably say the release of Generation Force and the debut of Xyz monsters like number 39 Utopia. But although Utopia is undeniably iconic, our pick for this year is a bit more creepy crawly. Maxi released in Storm of
What? What do you mean? What? Back to back? What? Okay, dude. But it came out, but it wasn't iconic then. That card wasn't good when it came out. There is no way, right? Same with Droll, right? Maxi in 2011? This is a card from the future. This is another card from the future. It was also common? Jesus Christ. There is no way. In fairness, Maxi was hot ass on release. I remember pulling one and hitting my deck box like 5. Didn't you start playing like a few months ago? Didn't you start playing a few months ago, Crispy Applesauce? Nah, I'm just kidding. I know. Yeah, TCG invented these fuckers. Dude, I cannot believe this thing. This is in 2011. That's when Yu-Gi-Oh was ruined. Interesting.
Ragnarok on February 8th, 2011. And while it took a few years for duelists to truly recognize Maxi's potential, once they did, Yu-Gi-Oh was never the same. It wouldn't be a stretch to call Maxi the most controversial card in Yu-Gi-Oh history. Its effect, which
at the time it wasn't iconic. There is no way.
Special summons can win games before a single other card has been played. Angry video essays, boycotts, duelists on Twitter literally begging Konami to ban it in Master Duel. There's no card more hotly debated and more vehemently hated. It's also a card that, more than any other, divides the TCG from the OCG in Master Duel. Ask 100 TCG players what the first card they put in any deck is, and you'll get a dozen different answers. Ask an OCG player, and they'll tell you Max C every time. If Max C ever returns to the TCG, expect it to wreak just as much havoc here as it does online and overseas. 2012 brought with it a wealth of staple Xyz monsters, like Gaga Cowboy, Abyss Dweller, and of course, the infamous number 16 Shockmaster.
Oh, is not Shockmaster?
It included the debut of another iconic
I was sure it was Shockmaster.
The Seal of Orichalcos.
Shut up, dude. What do you mean the Seal of Orichalcos? What do you mean the Seal of Orichalcos? I've never... Okay. What is the Seal of Orichalcos?
Released in Legendary Collection 3 Yugi's World on September 27th, 2012. The Seal of Orichalcos certainly isn't a competitive card unless you're playing some wacky stun strategy, but it's the central card of the Duel Monsters anime's 4th season, known as Waking the Dragons in the US.
It's not fair!
The most well-known case of an anime-exclusive card getting ported directly from the show to the game, not the other way around. It helps that Waking the Dragons is a season with some pretty awesome duels. Just ask Weevil Underwood. It's also worth mentioning that while this was the Seal of Orichalcos' first legal printing, in 2005, some Upper Deck Entertainment employees received a version of this card with different effects and artwork. Reportedly, only 15 copies of this card exist, and when they occasionally pop up at auction, they sell for upwards of over $15,000. It's probably a good thing these UDE copies are so rare, though, considering they allow duelists to steal their opponent's souls. Imagine that getting sided in a YCS.
Judge! He's not giving me his soul. Why? Dude, I don't know about that. I feel like Shockmaster was like more iconic. Like I didn't even. I'm just finding out right now. Like the 040 Calcos was like an actual like playable card. I thought it was like a. I thought it was a, what is this called? A promo thing. I didn't know it was something that you could play. It's Shockmaster. Shockmaster is more iconic. Everyone knows Shockmaster. If you know, if you ever seen like a YouTube short about Yu-Gi-Oh, competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, you will hear about that guy, and the whole meta revolved around it, right? So I don't know.
As anyone who played in 2013 will tell you, this year was defined by a single set, and that set was defined by a single archetype. The Dragon Rulers were released in Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy on May 17th, 2013.
The Dragon Rulers, I remember.
Every card of the archetype available at rare and common, the Dragon Rulers made an immediate impact upon release, warping the entire metagame with their ability to manipulate the graveyard and swarm the field. The Rulers were already powerful on their own, but when combined with rank 7 Xyz monsters like number 11 Big Eye and Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosack, they dominated the game in a way few other decks have before.
Mecha Phantom Beast is still such a meme. I don't know.
Or since. But despite their dominance, Dragon Rulers didn't piss off the player base nearly
it was
as
the
much
babies.
as Tier 0 decks. The Dragon Rulers' low rarities made it easy for even casual players to slot them into their favorite attribute-based decks, such as Battling Boxer. And to this day, Dragon Ruler mirror matches are considered challenging, skill-intensive, and fun. The drastic jump in both speed and power are why some players consider the Dragon Rulers the first actual modern Yu-Gi-Oh deck, an early sign of the 20 summons per turn combo fest the game is today. And although the Dragon Rulers aren't nearly as powerful today as they once were, they definitely ruled over the game for several years. 2014 was a stacked
the babies didn't come out then? Okay.
TCG, releasing iconic boss monsters such as Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss, El Shaddai Construct, Apocryphal Towers, but it also includes the birth of Pendulum Summoning. And what better monster to represent this new summoning mechanic than the one named after it, Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon.
Really?
Released in Duelist Alliance on August 14th, 2014.
Really? I feel like Towers wasn't so iconic that it became like a whole name, like a whole type of card. Like an official one, right? An unofficial one. That is the Towers. So I feel like Tower will be more iconic. So what was the one that was also the ace monster from the protagonist? Utopia. Well, Maxi is more iconic, I guess. At the time, I don't know. And there was also, that was more iconic than Stardust Dragon. That was the... What was it? The Crash Card Virus? I don't remember. I guess, I don't know.
2014. The ace monster of Yuya Sakaki, Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon is the first monster in the long-running Odd-Eyes archetype. A fan favorite that includes Xyz monsters, Synchro monsters, and even Ritual monsters. It spans the entire summoning spectrum. But Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon, from its name to its effect to its design, is the physical representation of pendulum summoning. And as normal as they might seem to players in 2024, the introduction of pendulums was one of the game's most divisive developments.
I feel like
Duel Field is getting 2 new zones? Why do my monsters have 2 effects now? And what the hell is a scale? Every new
I wasn't there at the time, right? I wasn't there at the time. I don't remember this. I found out about pendulums way later. So when this came out, I was surprised if it wasn't universally hated. Because everyone told, every time I heard someone talking about Yu-Gi-Oh at the time. Well, not at the time, right? We're talking about 2017? It's like, pendulum? I hated that. Yeah, it made me quit. Yeah, that's what I usually hear. That's what I usually hear.
Summoning mechanic has always had its doomsayers, but pendulums brought out a new level of negativity. To this day, it's not hard to find an older player who swears that they killed the game. And although a decade later, the game is clearly still alive and well, pendulums remain the black sheep of Yu-Gi-Oh! Since
Oh, Utopia wasn't in the first Xyz pack. It was from the different Xyz starter deck. Oh, okay, but it was in the same year. That's what I think. If not, then okay, it makes sense.
Speaking about awkward summoning mechanics, it's no secret that 2015's most iconic card is, of course, Necros of Trishula, released in
I know that
Secret
card.
Forces on February 12th, 2015.
Wait, but Trishula wasn't iconic? Or Trishula came out later? I thought this came out like after Trishula. Okay.
Necros was the first truly competitive ritual archetype. Most ritual decks are bricky and inconsistent, but Necros solves this issue by letting every ritual monster double as either a search spell or a hand trap. This means that even starting with a hand of all ritual monsters can lead to a winnable game. Combine this with the fantastic on-field effects and flexible ritual spells that let you use monsters in the grave and extra deck as material, and you've got a serious contender for the best ritual deck of all time. Other honorable mentions this year include the Winged Dragon of Raw Sphere mode, a unique removal card that still sees play today, the Kaijus and Cosmos, which were both TCG exclusive archetypes, and Performance Fire, which was a key part of the short-lived Tier 0 Pepe deck, and one of the few cards to ever receive a special emergency ban. But if you look back to 2015, it was nothing but Necros. In 2016, dozens of iconic...
This was Tier 0 in all but name, because they banned cards from this deck so fast. They never liked rituals being meta till they let Mitsurugi be, and well, look at what happened.
Cards hit store shelves. For instance, Pot of Desires and Card of Demise gave duelists new but risky ways to draw more cards. But 2016 also saw the premiere of the third Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Side of Dimensions, and with its release, a classic fan favorite deck rose from the ashes to dominate the modern metagame, Blue Eyes. 2016 brought a flood of new Blue Eyes support. May's Shining Victory booster pack included most of the level 1 Blue Eyes tuners, including White Stone of Ancients. Dragon Spirit of White was a powerful piece of walking back row removal, and Blue Eye Spirit Dragon was a synchro monster whose effects perfectly countered the Burning Abyss and Pendulum decks then ruling the format. But out of all of the new Blue Eyes cards released this year, easily the most recognizable is Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, released in the Dark Side of Dimensions movie pack on May 21st, 2016. Alternative, a Blue Eyes retrain that looks sick as hell, lets you turn your bricky vanillas into free special summons and monster pops. It addressed the deck's main weaknesses and helped bring Blue Eyes, a relatively popular but lackluster deck, into serious meta contention. These new cards, alongside a ban list that conveniently weakened every meta deck except for Blue Eyes, helped Blue Eyes...
Classic. That's such a classic move.
Go on to win the World Championship that year. The support also let Blue Eyes remain a competitive deck in Duel Links for over half a decade. A sure sign that this is a legacy support done right. 2016 is without a doubt the year of the Blue Eyes White Dragon, a fitting hurrah for the original boss monster as we head into the Link era. Ask any modern...
Pepe was a combination deck between Performa Pal and Performage that saw cards from it banned in seemingly the blink of an eye. Oh, that's so interesting. It's so interesting hearing about archetypes that I never heard before that were just a thing for like a few months probably because they were banned so quickly. That is so funny. The cover card was Clear Wind Synchro. Yeah. That's the one. That's the one. Wait, Spirit is that old? I knew that was old, right? It's so weird that the Spirit, and I don't remember the name of the new one. I guess it's Ultimate Spirit. It's like there is like 10-year difference. Like to me, it felt like. It feels like it came out like one after the other, right? Not that there is like not 10 but 9 years in between. So weird, right?
Modern Yu-Gi-Oh player with the most broken summoning mechanic is, and they're almost guaranteed to all answer the same thing.
Okay, Crystal.
You don't need any extra spell cards, special monster types, scales. Your materials don't even have to be the same level. Link summoning was built to be abused, so it makes
I legit thought they came out together. No, I also thought they came out together because when I started playing Master Duel, that was one of the newest decks, right? But then I saw that only the Ultimate was new. So yeah, the Spirit was the Spirit one, the normal one, the one that is not the one, the level 9, right? I was like, oh yeah, that came out like probably a year ago. No, 9 years ago. That's crazy.
Makes sense that the most iconic card of 2017 is a Link monster so strong it had to be banned. Firewall Dragon was released.
Wait, Firewall Dragon came out
on August 3rd,
that early, okay.
Read Firewall Dragon today, and it'll seem like an average, even mediocre boss monster. But to understand Firewall's true power, you have to look at its original pre-errata text, which let duelists special summon any monster, not just Cyber's types, and without any once-per-turn clause. This enabled infinite burn loops with cards like Cannon Soldier and Trickstar Lilybell, and even first-turn hand loops with cards like Topologic Gumblar Dragon, which was yet another broken Link monster. Despite clearly being a problem, it took Konami over a year to ban Firewall Dragon, probably because Firewall was Playmaker's original ace monster. This made Firewall the first and still only protagonist ace monster to ever see time on the ban list. It took until 2021 and a severe errata for Firewall to earn its freedom, a fitting legacy for the first cover card of the Link era. Other honorable mentions this year include the Xyz Titan that was Zodiac Trident, and of course, we can't forget about Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, easily the most played hand trap of all time.
Wait, hold on. Ash Blossom is probably the most iconic card of that year. I mean, I guess, I don't know.
2017 was a crazy year, and it only gets crazier from here. There aren't many years
I guess in retrospective,
contenders for the title of most
Ash Blossom is more
than
iconic.
This is the year of Orcus, the Nightmares, Pankratops, the Danger Monsters, Salamangreat, even Infinite Impermanence, one of the most popular hand traps of all time. But in a year of massive monsters,
I can't imagine. What is this?
From the crowd to become a fan favorite.
What?
Sky Striker Ace Ray released in Dark Saviors on May 24th, 2018. Ray is the centerpiece of the Sky Striker archetype, a control deck that wants to fill the graveyard with spell cards so that their cards get added effects and then can cycle and reuse those cards to whittle the opponent down to nothing. It's easy to learn combos, make it a great deck for casual players looking to wade into the competitive.
Casual players!
It's been a high-tiered meta contender multiple times and has picked up tops every year since release. But Ray is more than just a card. She's also the main character of the Sky Strikers lore, a storyline so popular that Konami adapted it into its own manga. In the lore, Ray is a young girl and the last survivor of the human race, forced to use the Sky Striker weapons and mecha suits to defend the planet from a rogue AI. Every Sky Striker spell and monster represents a character or scene from this saga.
Honestly, Linkage is probably one of my favorite arts in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, the art of Linkage is so good. Look, it makes sense, right? It's so perfect. I want this framed. It's so cool.
Published in the Japan-exclusive OCG Stories manga throughout 2022 and 2023.
Wait, the code is Mama?
It's one in the Japan-exclusive...
The code is Mama. Dude, what else do you want?
OCG Stories manga throughout 2022 and 2023. It's one of the game's most popular storylines ever and has turned Ray into an instantly recognizable monster. Ray is a card, a character, and an icon of 2018's top.
You only like this archetype because of the lore? You know what's the worst part about it? I like the lore, I appreciate the lore, and I know it's like cool, but the gameplay is my favorite part. I don't know, I feel like everyone disagrees with me because of that. It's like, to me, the best part about the Sky Striker is not the art or the design. That is also like a really huge part of it. But my favorite part is the gameplay. The gameplay is so good. It's so fun to play Sky Striker. Play against it? No. But playing it is so fun.
Boss or Thunder Orcus Sky Striker Salamangreat format. 2018 wouldn't be the same without her. As the years pass, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just gets faster and faster, but ironically, the most iconic card of 2019 slowly...
Wait, hold on. Do non-Yu-Gi-Oh! Players even know, like, Ray? I feel like nobody's gonna know that. Like, there's no way there is, like, non-Yu-Gi-Oh! Players that know about Ray and Sky Striker. I cannot imagine that. Yes? Nope. See? I cannot imagine. Like, I didn't know. I had no idea. I met girls at card shop who bought Ray merch. Yeah, but they're already in a card shop. They already know about card games, right? What are you saying, right? I'm like, no one who is outside like Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't know about Yu-Gi-Oh! Know who Ray is, right? Do you know she was from Yu-Gi-Oh? There is no way. I've seen Twitter artists drawing Dark Magician Girl, Ray, and Lady Labyrinth. Ray, okay, that's weird. Anyways.
game down to a snail's pace. Mystic Mine was released in Dark Neostorm on May 2nd, 2019. To put it bluntly, Mystic Mine is one of the worst designed cards of all time. It's the stall card, a floodgate with no maintenance costs that stops your opponent and sometimes both players from playing the game. With Mystic Mine on the field,
I can't believe I missed this.
It wasn't rare for games to last 30 turns or more, with both players just passing back and forth, either praying they draw the out or waiting to deck out. It took a certain type of person to really enjoy playing. A certain
type of person.
As much hate
I
as
know
the
what
card
you mean.
Gets, Mystic Mine did have a few upsides. After all, it helped Jeff Leonard, the king of stall, become a minor celebrity in the Yu-Gi-Oh community. It inspired
one of the
Jesse
most
Cotton's
iconic,
amazingly passive-aggressive "with all due respect" tweet.
Oh, I've seen this tweet. Okay, I did. Okay, guys. But with all due respect, how are you not prepared for mine at this point? It's a little ridiculous to not have a well thought out plan when entering a tournament. Okay, this is iconic. See, I didn't know Yu-Gi-Oh, but I know about the tweet.
It's rare to find a card that unites the Yu-Gi-Oh community so strongly in hatred. Aside from Max C. Mystic Mine was the bane of players' existence for years, surviving ban list after ban list until finally it was hit in 2022. Good riddance.
Jesus Christ, it took 3 years? Jesus.
This year, Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess, and IP Masquerena were
No. Okay, well, I guess in retrospective, Masquerena right now is more iconic, right? But yeah, no. Mystic Mine at the time, obviously.
Cards, but Mystic Mine will go down in history as probably one of the most hated Yu-Gi-Oh cards and most iconic hated Yu-Gi-Oh cards of all time. In 2020,
is the iconic hated Yu-Gi-Oh card? Yeah.
Events, YCSs, local tournaments, even the World Championship were canceled because of COVID. But the game didn't slow down, and the TCG continued to pump out heavy hitter cards that warped the competitive landscape in wild ways. 2020 is the year of Access Code Talker, a generic link that gave nearly every deck away to OTK. It's the year of Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, Sky Thunder, a quick effect board wipe with any deck that could make an Xyz monster. It's the year of Crystron Halqifibrax, a revolutionary Link 2 monster that broke tuners like Glow-A-Bulb, helped build crazy unbreakable end boards, and encouraged 60-card kitchen sink decks.
What is his name? Halqifibrax? What weird name.
But it's also the year of a powerful fusion monster that brought Dark Magician and Red Eyes Black Dragon
the
back
Gunner.
to the spotlight. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon was released in the Tin of Lost
that's
on
iconic.
August 27th, 2020. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon's strength came not just from its effect, but also its easy summoning condition. Sure, you had to run Dark Magician and Red Eyes Black Dragon in your deck.
Looks like a fan-made card, right?
Trade-off for a high attack.
It looks like an AI-generated card, if you think about it.
It also acted as an Omni-Negate. Pretty much any deck could play Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, and many did. But playability aside, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon reached far outside of Yu-Gi-Oh's typical circles. Casual fans who may not necessarily be hardcore Yu-Gi-Oh players were getting excited at the prospect of hearing about this mythical fusion between Yugi and Joey's Ace monster that was all of a sudden playable in the game. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon may not have been the most powerful card of 2020, but it was definitely the most iconic. More people were talking about Red Eyes Dark Dragoon than Crystron Halqifibrax. If you played Yu-Gi-Oh in 2020, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon was inescapable. And although it's true that 2021 brought Dragoon's replacement in Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, it also brought another boss monster that made Synchro players jump for joy. Baronne de Fleur was released in Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm on October 28th.
Slow years, this is the most iconic card.
It's not hard to understand why Baronne got so popular. It immediately boosted the power of any deck that could make a level 10 Synchro, and even helped Sword Soul, which debuted only a month later, into Tier 1 contention. Its effects made it a great option to go into whether you're going first or second as well. Baronne was a signature staple card in combo decks for years, all the way up until 2024 when it was banned in the TCG for the sins of Snake Eyes, but realistically, it was a long time coming. Honorable mentions for 2021 include Pot of Prosperity, a fantastic consistency tool, and of course, Crossout Designator, an OCG staple that saw massive hype in the TCG. If you'd asked me at the start of 2022 what the most iconic card of the year would be, I'd probably answer with Rite of Aramasir. A few months on, maybe I'd answer Branded Fusion. But by the end of the year, it's clear that the most iconic card of 2022 is without a doubt Tearlament's Kit Kalos, released in Power of the
This is the Tearlament's era, okay. Yeah.
In reality, this spot belongs to the
Tier 0, right?
Tearlament archetype.
Yeah.
But Tearlament's Kit Kalos is a good poster child. Tearlament turned fusion summoning on its head and solidified the graveyard's modern role as a second hand. Even a weak tier limit combo could pump out multiple fusion bosses, Xyz floodgates, and link combo extenders. Tier limit also gave half of the Yu-Gi-Oh player base a devastating gambling addiction, but that's a separate issue. The tier limits, along with their
fun,
power,
right?
the element siblings,
So
the sprites,
fun gambling.
dominated the second half of 2022. But once these Shizu cards debuted in November's Magnificent Mavens, it quickly carried tier limit to undisputed tier 0 status.
Wait, if this timeline is right, Apple and Mask came out before Baron? That's kind of, it feels weird, right? It feels weird that because this Baron the Floor is it's a synchro, and it came out after Appaloosa, which is like four negates, and this is just like one omni negate. I think, I don't remember. It feels weird, right? But I don't know. It makes sense in my head.
Obliterating every other meta deck and flooding YCSs with 15 effect-long chain links. To put it in perspective, it took banning Kick Kolos, limiting every tier limit and a Shizu main deck monster,
What is this?
and introducing an explicitly anti-graveyard archetype in Kashtira.
Oh my god.
And yet, tier element engines are still popping up in meta decks today, ensuring...
No, okay, so so Kashtira was made because of this? I hate that. We have Kashtira because of tier elements. I mean, it probably was planned before, but anyways, it's still like hard to believe.
The slot machine
Oh.
never stops spinning. Both are still popping up in meta decks today, ensuring the slot machine never stops
Every now and then
But
I
with
see one of these tier
2022
element
in the
decks and
rear
I'm like,
view,
bro, let
top-level
it go.
Yu-Gi-Oh players often split the game's recent history into two parts: pre-Power of the Elements and post-Power of the Elements. The set represented a level of immediate power creep that few other sets have ever matched. But no Tier 0 format can last forever, and for better or worse, Konami's answer to Tier Element's overwhelming power was a walking floodgate that would loom menacingly over most of 2023. Kashtira Arise Heart,
That is
the boss
more
monster of
annoying.
the
I feel like that's
banish-focused
worse.
Kashtira archetype turned the metagame on its head. Its oppressive Macrocosmos effect cut off graveyard access for both players, locking most decks out of their main strategies. Its unique ability to banish cards face down could permanently remove key combo pieces from the game and bypass floating effects. And when combined with its fellow
Oh my god,
Kashtira
this...
Kashtira Shangri Era,
It just makes me angry. Do these cards just make me angry?
Unable to play the game, with anywhere from 2 to all 10 of their zones disabled. Kashtira players could trample even the most carefully planned strategy. Going from tier element format, where both players were constantly interacting and trading card advantage while stacking up double-digit chain links, to Kashtira format, which was basically the exact opposite of interactive, was like whiplash. It was a frustrating period for the game, as Kashtira Arise Heart basically warped the format around it, because if your deck wasn't playing a way to defeat Kashtira Arise Heart, you were losing to Kashtira Arise Heart. Honorable mentions for this year include SP Little Knight, an expensive staple that's the new gold standard for generic extra deck monsters, and Diabellstar the Black Witch, a fantastic card that would rise to full power in
Same year.
2024. At the time of recording this video, we're halfway through 2024, the so-called Year of Fire. Snake Eye has dominated the TCG for most of the year, and with Fiendsmith now hitting the shelves, that
Fiendsmith,
domination is
definitely,
going to continue
right?
for a long time.
Why is Kimani
Obviously,
2024?
I won't know what the most iconic card of 2024 will be until the year is complete. But if I had to pin one down today, I think there's one card that truly embodies the essence of the Year of Fire, and that's of course Promethean Princess, Bestower of Flames.
Oh, that was Master
released in Phantom Nightmare on February 8th.
Wasn't that a Master Duel exclusive?
Promethean Princess, interestingly enough, was actually released to us in Master Duel before the TCG. So it shouldn't be much of a surprise that Promethean Princess was insanely hyped on release as a fantastic combo piece for any Snake Eye or Fire King decks. But Princess isn't just limited to Snake Eye and Fire King strategies, she can be played in a myriad of different decks. The Year of Fire decks were already competitively pushed, but to me, Promethean Princess really fanned the flames to allow these decks to dominate throughout 2024. If you ask me this question at the end of the year, maybe I'll give you a different answer. And that's it. 23 cards.
Malice came out in 2024, right? Malice came out in 2024. Hold on. When did Malice came out? When did Malice came out? Yeah, September 2024. Yeah, okay. Well, it wasn't that card, clearly. It was definitely Malice. Which one? I don't know. At the very end, we got Malice, Ryseal, Ryuge. I don't know what Ryuge is. The card might make you angry, but the Visas lore, which archetype like Estira and Elements are part of, is something else. Oh yeah, I like how all of that is connected. I like how all of that is connected. That sounds amazing. Interesting. Let's see.
For 23 years. Let me know down in the comments what your most iconic cards are for each of the years throughout.
Well, I have my opinions. You already heard.
To hear your thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you to Kazuki Takahashi for giving us the game that we still love and is still going strong. So guys, that's going to wrap it up for another video.
Really cool video, very informative. I really liked it.
Patrons for all of their continued support. So shout outs to Shout1317, Sim00x3, MBT Play
Dolce. What?
And Hoban, Little Fade Leaf, Draconic, Dylan Rare Hunter, JW11860, Brian Dancer of Class 7, Flannel Daddy, Twinkle Muncher, literally all of the guinea pigs, Cheeks McLapperty, Stolfin,
literally all of the guinea. Those are some amazing.
Soon, cancel by all committee soon, cancel by all players soon. Corvain, absolute angriest peacock of the Edison Club, Daniel Howell, and life keeps using solemn judgment on my hopes and dreams. Thank you all so much again for watching, and we will see you next time.
That is such a
upsides. After all, it helped Jeff Leonard, the king of stall, become a
Alright, Chad, what do you think? Do you agree with most of what is the most like controversial for you? For me, it was like I feel like cards like Maxi wasn't really like common, like iconic at the time. I feel like Utopia should be more like representative of it. Same like, well, I guess the Obelisk was popular at the time. So I feel like it's not consistent. That's what I don't like. Like you cannot put Maxi in there and not Veiler or Droll, right? I don't know. That's just me. I feel like I like the video. I just feel like there is a few inconsistencies, and that's gonna be my issue with it. Maxi became iconic when the deck started to do stuff that we see now. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. It's iconic now. At the time, it wasn't iconic. It was a common card. Nobody cared about Maxi, right? So why is Droll not there? Ash Blossom. Why is Ash Blossom also not there? They're iconic now, right? Maxi shouldn't be in the list. I'm sure there were more iconic cards. What was it? Oh, what is the Seal of Orichalcos and no Shockmaster? Okay. I don't know. Like the card is cool, I guess, for fans of the anime, but like it was never played. I don't know what to tell you. It was closer to Tail Endo. Well, anyways, let me know if I'm stupid in the in the comments. Thank you, everyone. All right.